Hey, Nurse Melissa here from Smart Edition Nursing over at smarteditionacademy.com. We are the makers of the TEAS 7 online course. Today's video, I'm going to be going over with you the need to know words and concepts from the organization of the human body as it relates to what you might see on your TEAS exam within those 18 scored A and P questions. This is just one of our flashcard videos. We have many more, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button and check out our flashcard playlist. Now let's get started. There's going to be 35 things that I want you to be testing yourself on. Keep a notebook or just a scratch piece of paper by your side and make sure to note down any words or concepts that you got incorrect so that way you can make sure that you keep studying that word or that concept as you continue to study in your TEAS 7 journey. Speaking of studying for your TEAS 7, you can do it the easy way, the simple way, by just using an online course. The TEAS 7 online course over at smarteditionacademy.com. Not only does it include a course and everything that you need to pass your TEAS exam guaranteed, it also includes a mobile app, videos, PDFs, digital flashcards, and so much more. So if you're looking to get confident and simplify studying for the TEAS exam, head over and check out the online course at smarteditionacademy.com. Now let's get started. What are the 7 levels of organization? That's going to be your atom, molecule, cell, tissue, organ, organ system, and organism. Remember, if you didn't get this right, make a note, take a screenshot, and let's keep on rolling. What are the 6 body cavities? Ventral cavity, thoracic cavity, abdominal cavity, pelvic cavity, dorsal cavity, cranial cavity, and spinal cavity. What are the 4 body planes? That's going to be your sagittal plane, your mid-sagittal plane, the transverse plane, and the frontal plane. What are the 4 body regions? Upper limb, lower limb, central region, and head region. And remember, if any of these concepts are unfamiliar to you, or if you are finding that you need a refresher on A&P, make sure you check out that TEAS 7 online course. That's going to help you relearn everything you need to know for A&P, biology, chemistry, scientific reasoning, math, English, and reading. What are the 4 types of human tissue? Connective, epithelial, muscle, neural. What is homeostasis? Homeostasis keeps the body's internal environment stable. Each cell is surrounded by fluid, and for cells to function properly, this fluid must stay within a specific range of temperature, volume, and chemical balance. As an example of homeostasis is the body's ability to regulate body temperature. If you get too hot, your body sweats to cool you down, but if you get too cold, your body shivers to generate heat. One tip as you're studying for your TEAS exam, it's important to know how each of the different parts and systems of the body help maintain homeostasis. help and maintain homeostasis. So when you start studying the cardiovascular system, the gastrointestinal system, the endocrine system, etc., always make sure that as you're studying, you're keeping track mentally, how does this system help maintain homeostasis? What is negative feedback? Negative feedback is a process where the body counters a change to bring conditions back to normal, helping maintain stability. Okay, an example of this is when blood pressure rises, the body works to lower it, keeping it within a normal range. How does this relate to homeostasis, which is something we just talked about? Negative feedback helps the body stay balanced by adjusting the different variables like temperature or blood pressure, like we said, when they move away from their ideal range. So that begs the question, what is positive feedback? Positive feedback is when the body increases a change instead of reversing it. This causes the change to grow stronger until a specific goal is reached. How does this relate to homeostasis, and how is it different from negative feedback? Positive feedback does not maintain homeostasis. Instead, it actually pushes the body further away from its normal state, which can sometimes be helpful but can be harmful in certain situations. A good example of this would be childbirth. What is an organelle? How would you define it? An organelle is a small structure contained within a cell that performs one or more specific functions. So what's the difference between an organelle and a cell? Organelles are like the organs of a cell, while the cell itself is like the complete living system. A cell is the smallest unit of life, while an organelle is a specialized structure within a cell. What is a cell? How would you define it? Cells are the basic functional units of life. All cells share many characteristics, but they differ in their structure and function. As it relates to the TEAS exam, you're going to want to make sure that you not only know human cells, but as well as plant and animal cells and what their differences are. That information is going to come into play when you're answering the biology questions on the TEAS exam. What is a cavity? A cavity is a fluid-filled space in the body that houses and protects internal organs. An example would be the thoracic cavity. That's the cavity in the chest that contains the heart and the lungs and protects them with the rib cage. What is the ventral cavity? The ventral cavity is the one in the front body that houses major organs. It also will include things like your thoracic cavity, the abdominal cavity, and the pelvic cavity. This cavity is part of the ventral cavity that includes both the abdominal and the pelvic cavities. It is located below the thoracic cavity, and it is enclosed by the abdominal muscles and the pelvic bones. And again, it contains the abdominal cavity, which houses things like your stomach, your liver, your spleen, and the pelvic cavity that will house things like your reproductive organs and your bladder. Thoracic cavity. As a reminder, make sure that you are writing down any words that are unfamiliar to you, any flashcards that you are not getting correct. Take a picture of them, write it down in your notes. If you need a deeper rationale or explaining of any concepts, you can check out the organization of the human body lesson within the T7 online course. You can check out not only the lesson, but also the practice test questions related to the organization of the human body, as well as the educational videos inside of the course. The thoracic cavity is enclosed by the rib cage and separated from the abdominal cavity by the diaphragm. Abdominal cavity. The abdominal cavity is located below the thoracic cavity and is enclosed by the abdominal muscles. Pelvic cavity. The pelvic cavity is surrounded by the pelvic bones and contains the bladder, part of the intestines, and the internal reproductive organs. Dorsal cavity. The dorsal cavity is the back of the human body, and it is subdivided into two cavities, the cranial and the spinal. Now let's focus on our directional terms. You're going to need to know these for your TEAS exam, and you're going to need to know these in general as you start to do the coursework in your upcoming program. Inferior means a structure below another. In anatomy, inferior refers to a position that is lower or towards the bottom of the body relative to another part. An example would be the stomach is inferior to the lungs. This means the stomach is located lower in the body compared to the lungs. Superior. This means a structure above another. In anatomy, superior refers to a position that is higher or towards the top of the body relative to another part. So another example would be the head is superior to the neck. This means the head is located above the neck. Interior. This means towards the front of the body. An example of this is the chest is anterior to the spine. This means the chest is located in front of the spine. Posterior. This means toward the back of the body. An example would be the spine is posterior to the heart. This means the spine is located at the back of the heart. The heart is in the front and the spine is behind it. Dorsal. This means the back of the body. An example would be the spinal cord is dorsal to the heart. The spinal cord is located at the back of the body behind the heart. Of course, whenever I think of this word, dorsal, I think of dorsal fin on a dolphin, which is that little triangular fin that they have on the back of their bodies. Ventral. This means the front of the body. This is opposite of dorsal. An example would be the chest is ventral to the spine. The chest is located in front of the spine. Proximal. Proximal refers to a position that is closer to the point of attachment or to the trunk of the body. An example of this would be the elbow is proximal to the wrist. The elbow is closer to the shoulder, which is the point of attachment when you're considering the trunk of the body, than the wrist. The elbow is much closer to the shoulder, which connects to the rest of the body, than the wrist is. Distal. This refers to a position that is furthest away from the point of attachment or from the trunk of the body. An example of this would be the fingers are distal to the elbow. The fingers are further away from the shoulder, which again is that point of attachment, than the elbow is. The fingers are distal, further away to the elbow. Lateral. A position that is away from the midline of the body or towards the sides. An example of lateral in the human body would be the ears are lateral to the eyes. The ears are further away from the midline of the body compared to the eyes. Medial. Medial refers to a position that is toward the midline of the body or closer to the center. An example of this would be the nose is medial to the ears. The nose is closer to the midline of the body than the ears. Superficial. Superficial refers to a position that is closer to the surface of the body. An example of this would be the skin is superficial to the muscles. The skin is closer to the surface of the body than the muscles. Also think about when we say that a cut is superficial, it means it's just at the surface. It's not a deep cut. This refers to a position that is towards the front, anterior, and toward the top, superior. So an example of this would be the nose. The nose is positioned in front of and also above the mouth. Supine position. This refers to lying on the back with the face up and the position body horizontally. What's important to remember here is that the body is facing up and the palms of the hand are typically facing up. When a person is lying flat on the back, they are in supine position. Prone position. And this is going to be the opposite of supine. This refers to when the body is lying on the stomach with the face down and the body is positioned horizontally. The body is facing down and the palms of the hand are typically facing down as well. Connective tissue. This refers to a type of tissue that has cells separated by a lot of material outside of the cells. It performs several important functions. If you've listened to any of our videos before, you know that I will always tell you that it is incredibly important to know the functions, the structure, and the characteristics of anything that you study, and that is the same of tissue. So make sure that you are taking notes on the different functions that connective tissue have. It includes supporting and moving, storing, cushioning and insulating, and protecting. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is classified based on the number of cell layers and cell shapes. It has several important functions, such as protecting underlying structures, acting as barriers, permitting passage of substances and secreting substances. Good example of this is going to be your skin and lining of internal organs. Muscle tissue. Muscle tissue consists of cells that are long and thread-like called fibers, and they perform several important functions such as providing movement and heartbeat. Examples of muscle tissue is going to be like your heart muscle and muscles of the digestive system. All right, last one, neural tissue. Neural tissue consists of cells made up of dendrites, cell bodies, and axons. It plays a key role in coordinating and controlling many bodily activities, such as coordinating and controlling, as well as processing information. Examples of this is going to be your brain and your spinal cord. So that's it. Those are 35 important things and concepts to know as it relates to the organization of the human body. Again, if any of these terms or concepts are unfamiliar to you, you can refresh your knowledge by getting the TEAS 7 online course over at smarteditionacademy.com. The course will help you refresh your knowledge on everything you need to know to pass your TEAS exam as it relates to reading, math, A&P, biology, scientific reasoning, chemistry, and English. See you in the next video. Thank you for subscribing.